am somehow. I wasn't prepared really good today, but I am. Oh my goodness. And just like that, we are live. It is Pride Week. Can't with all of this. What is going on? What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. This is episode 761 on a Pride Week here in New York, also San Francisco, also Toronto. I am your host, Steve V, alongside holding down the fort. Happy Pride Week, Kodi Maurice Doggett. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. Happy Pride. It's going to be
Yes.
fantastic. This week is going to be crazy,
It's
but
going to be crazy. I
I'm going to
know.
make it.
And that's why we wanted a celebration tonight to celebrate all things Pride, all things, and we wanted to kind of continue our conversation that we were having just the other night with our co-host Sebastian Lacaze, where we were talking about shame and basically how we all grew up with shame and moved our way into being shameless, or hopefully most of us did. This really was a great discussion. If you want to listen to it, go to episode 760. This is episode 761. And if we're calling this kind of the shameless era, what turns us on now, or older, bolder, and hornier. We're kind of taking it to a next level. Hopefully, if you did listen to the last episode, we're moving on. And after talking about when sex stopped feeling shameful, this episode asks the question, once you become more sexually confident, what actually changes? Do you flirt differently? Hook up differently, say no faster, ask for more, try new things, stop pretending to be into things you're really not, become more adventurous or more selective. I really think this could be a lot of fun for us. The conversation about the pleasures of being more honest, more direct, and less embarrassed. And as I mentioned last episode, we talked about pride, belonging, and the moment sex stopped feeling shameful. But tonight, we want to go a step further. We want to become more shameless. We want
Okay.
changes in the bedroom, on the apps, at the bar, in your flirting, and in your fantasies, because maybe sexual confidence isn't just about doing more. Maybe it's about finally knowing what you want and having the nerve to say it. And with that, there was an article, Kodi, that really caught my attention that goes along with this. And it's one of our favorite brands, Nasty Pig. One of the founders of Nasty Pig wants his fellow daddy bottoms to embrace their biggest asset. Nasty Pig's co founder had a message for his fellow daddy bottoms, and he was talking about it recently on people that we are friends with, the Dads and Daddies podcast. In fact, we're going
Okay.
to do an exchange with them soon. But
Cool.
David Lauterstein, who is the founder of Nasty Pig, tackled the long-standing problem of ageism in the gay community. And while acknowledging the scene can be harder to navigate, he says approaching the outside world with confidence is key. Quote, get out there and feel confident in yourself. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, he said. And he also said things like sex positivity was a thing then because, back in the day during the AIDS crisis, because sex was terrifying, especially for gay men and queer people. He said that now we have to reclaim that identity and fight for it. Over the decades, Nasty Pig has remained relevant by understanding the zeitgeist. Lauterstein's knack for reading their customers was apparent earlier this year when he responded to a viral debate. Remember this, Kodi?
Yeah.
When whether Nasty Pigs, whether you should wear Nasty Pig, particularly a chain, basically like a chain, ball chain kind of thing, to a
Yeah.
restaurant was appropriate. And he chimed in and said, I'm staying out of this one, but I'll leave you all to talk about it. But I've always felt confident. And we could read a little few more things over what he was basically telling a lot of us. Because in this article, he talks about being of a certain age and how basically push yourself out there. We all have hangups. We all have shame. We all have things that we worked on, especially as we get older. But nudge yourself forward to dating, nudge yourself forward to make that move. It's scary. Even as the founder of Nasty Pig, still feels that little moment in him when he goes out by himself, and he is loud and proud as a bottom, as a person of a certain age. And I just loved how he embraced that and how he put that self out there. What do you say to this? And basically, where we were talking about releasing shame in the last episode, and then we find this article of one of the founders of one of our favorite brands, Nasty Pig.
Yeah, it's so amazing. It's so inspiring for someone to come out and say this, and just to really reclaim his whole identity as a daddy bottom. I think that it's very it really gives me hope for me getting a little bit older, even though I'm not a bottom, but I can take uh I can stand in my truth and where I am, and associate myself with his entire platform, because just being gay in this world, just being who you are and being authentic is very it's hard sometimes because you get a lot of pressure from all directions. So I'm really happy for him. I'm really glad that he's out there preaching this, because people need to really hear these things, because that way they can really like associate themselves with people that are standing on in their truth, and knowing that it's okay for them to do it as well. So it's great. I love it. Keep doing it. I'm inspired to do it myself now.
Again, we're in front of a live virtual audience. I see a lot of you. Hello, Doug. Hello, Durand. Hello, many of you. Keep coming those comments, bringing them in on this Pride Week. We welcome them. We'll read a bunch of them as we go through this next hour. We're talking about a topic that we were talking about with our co-host, Sebastian Lacaze, just on episode 760, which came out just Tuesday. And we were really talking about how shame really was a part of all of our gay men's existence. At some point, we all felt shame and we had to release those layers, and how that affected us. And then along came David Lauterstein's article. David Lauterstein is the founder of Nasty Pig. I'll read a couple quotes that he said. He wrote recently in an article about Nasty Pig and just him in general, a man of a certain age. He's in his late 50s. If you are somebody who's out there and looking, just have some confidence. You'd be surprised. You can seem unapproachable without knowing it. That emphasis on physical looks in gay spaces, he says, can be intimidating, as we all know, even for a gay fashion trailblazer. And I really like that he put himself out there like that, Kodi.
He's
He
talking this
wears a
talk, ain't he?
yeah, as he wears a padlock necklace, and that was of course, the impetus for the viral tweet that went where the gays were talking about if wearing a padlock necklace is appropriate going on a date in a restaurant. And he says, wear whatever you want. We said that on this show.
Right?
Lauterstein relayed a story about how he was timid about going out himself after undergoing surgery. And he said that stand in who you are, stand in where you come from. Everybody's out there feeling nervous about who they are. Lean into your age and lean into your experience. And that to me really resonated too, about how, you know, we don't put enough emphasis on aging and feeling confident within our gay spaces. And I definitely have at 55. And I know I'm probably one of the only one that talks about my age so out there and proudly, but I really am proud of being a 55. I
Yes.
really am. I want to shout it out. I'm not one of those people that like, oh, I'm not really this age. People often don't expect me to be the age I am. And that's always flattering, I guess. But no, I'm out there. I'm out there proud. I'm working out a lot. I'm doing everything to be healthy. And no, I put myself out there the age that I am because I want to be an example to others that are going through the process that think that you have to only be a, a certain age. And
Mhm.
no, that's why I constantly say my age and put it out there because I think it's something to be proud of. You earn those years, and we need more gay men to actually grab the age that you're at by the balls and say, fuck you, this is who I am, and look how sexy I can be. And motherfucker, take a back seat because you better hope that you look as good as I did. I
Well,
mean, that's how I really feel. So,
yeah, no,
and
I agree with you.
I'm all about that.
I don't shout mine from the rooftops, but I do. I won't lie about it. I won't. It's like a protected, guarded secret, and you have to be in the inner circle for it to come out. As far as I'm concerned, I have to trust you. You have to whisper sweet nothings in my ear. There's all these hoops that you have to run through, but I don't lie because I don't see like the purpose in lying. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that we should all be showing because I am a man of a certain age. I'm in my 40s. That's as specific as I'll get as far as like saying my age out loud and proud. I'm in my 40s, and I think that it's important to show that. That's why I've done show that people of a certain age are still viable and still sexy. Because I mean, I've done a couple photo shoots. I'm down to do more, so I'm trying to get like a single photo shoot going. So photographers hit me up. I'm available, and I think that a lot of people are surprised when they see me doing these things and taking photos of myself, like practically nude. And I think that it's really important to let people know and show people that I'm not afraid and I love my body. And I think that we should all be embracing our bodies because all bodies are beautiful at any age.
100%. And we need to embrace that more. Again, I want to remind you it is our Pride Week episode. And I see so many of you, maybe throughout the hour, if you want to just write in how you're celebrating Pride this month. And it doesn't always have to be a Pride parade. Diego and I, and you, Cody, were watching several films, throwback films, new films. Hedwig was one of the ones we were watching.
So good.
Oh my god, what was the other one? Julie Newmar
Yep, we
that we
watched Tu Wong Fu, and then we
Tu Wong
watched
Fu. I was adoring it.
it's so good, right? And didn't you tell me you had never seen it before? I was
Never seen
aghast.
it.
I
Never
was
seen
like,
it.
"Wow,
And
I
I
could."
am so Patrick Swayze
Yeah.
character. Like that would be me for 100%. And
Yes, and Diego
we
is Chi
casted you
Chi,
as
and
Wesley
I'm
Snipes and
Naima.
Diego's Chi Chi. Yeah. So much
The
fun.
best.
And
We also watched
Pilliard.
Pillion too, yeah.
Pillion,
Pillion. Yeah.
with Andrew Skarsgård,
Yep.
and oh my god, you can all watch it on HBO Max right now. It is such a good film. People celebrate Pride in their own way. It's not always about a parade or a big party. We will be going to some of those things, but if you want to just drop in the chat how you're celebrating Pride this month, we'd love to read it throughout the hour. And yeah,
Doug.
absolutely. Read
And Doug
one.
says in the comments that he's nearly 50 years old, and honestly, I'm proud to be his age since wisdom comes with the experience. Yeah, I agree with you. There's so much that I've learned about myself and about the world and just things that I would never trade to be 22 again. I mean, like maybe a
Yeah,
couple my knees. If my knees didn't hurt so bad sometimes, I would trade
stop
that in,
doing
but
those
like
deep knee
everything else.
bends at the club, girl.
Stop being on my knees in the
Or that
club.
too. Well, if last episode we were really deep diving into really our early years of what shame meant and how we had to kind of overcome shame, because I started the segment off on the last episode on many of us gay men, our whole existence of our sexuality was built around shame. If you just think about that archetype of how your adulthood, your sexuality is built around shame, given the time you may have been born. Now, granted, maybe those today don't have a lot of that, thanks to the grandfathers of the people that were there before them. But
Yeah.
now we're kind of moving a little bit forward, and now we're getting a little bit more fun, and we're asking the question, what are we no longer embarrassed about? I can ask you this question. What's something sexual, Cody, you used to be shy about that now you're like, yeah, that's me? I'll give you a few examples. You tell
Okay.
me. Sending the first DM,
Oh, I
saying
don't
what
care about
you're
that.
into, talking about a position, being naked with the lights on, asking for a kiss first, saying no to bad sex, dirty talk, being watched, being direct on apps, wanting romance and sex, wanting sex without making it a whole emotional dissertation. What's
Oh,
one
well, that
thing
one
that
I'm
you're no
learning.
longer basically embarrassed about that resonates with you, Cody?
Like all of the above, definitely the one about sending the text first because Doug mentioned it in the comments that you learn things as you get older, and there's a
Yeah.
wisdom that I feel like I have gleaned as far as me and making the first move or being more forward, not necessarily not pushy, but just more assertive. And I think that all of that has culminated in me being who I am and realizing that that's kind of within my personality to kind of take charge and be the first one to DM, ask for a kiss. All of these things I am comfortable doing now because first of all, a closed mouth don't get fed. So there's that aspect to it. But also, generally speaking, I feel like I'm the first one that kind of wants these things first. Does that make sense? Because I
It
feel
does.
like I'm like more driven by my desires and I am more in touch with that side of my personality than I feel like some other people are. So I definitely can feel when it's time for a kiss and when I definitely don't deny myself when it comes to that type of thing. So yeah, as long as the other person is willing, we're kissing.
Yeah,
How
I mean,
about you?
I feel like a lot of these that I listed are things that when I was single at a certain age, post my like mid 40s, I started becoming so confident about just putting myself out there and taking the lead after so many years of people putting me in a box, telling me I was the bottom, putting me on, yeah, maybe they put me on the cover of a certain gay rag or on the box to go dance, but it was a controlling person and I accepted that and that was fine, but I didn't really have all my faculties about me. And now I really got that in my 40s and I really embraced it. And a lot of it had to do with me, and I talked about it before, was entering the BDSM world and
Mhm.
the S&M world and running for Mr. Eagle, where I really got a lot of confidence on who I was sexually, what I wanted sexually, when I wanted to be a submissive, when I wanted to be a dominant. And that really, those years were, I still love that community so much, but I was really embedded in it for so long. And it really had an impact on me on how I approached my sexuality in general. But now I would say, even in a relationship with Diego, I'm always telling him, get his Instagram handle and let's do this with this person. And I'm pushing him and nudging him. And we're now do it as a couple often. But there's a lot of confidence in that, and I
Yeah,
really like that, and it's shifted from being somebody that had to really go through a change as a single person to somebody that's gone through it as with a partner that I embrace now, and it's just shifted, and I love it. So,
nice. Yeah. Life is
absolutely.
ever evolving. So you got to stay growing and learning.
Absolutely. And then if I was to ask the question, is confidence itself the hottest kink? The guy who knows what he wants, the guy who communicates clearly, the guy who isn't begging to be chosen, the guy who makes you feel wanted, the guy who can laugh in bed. The difference between confidence and arrogance. Basically, is confidence itself the hottest kink, Cody?
I think it's one of the hottest kinks. I think being funny is another hot kink, but I think that confidence is right up there because you can fake it a little bit, but I feel like you can't really like you either are that you have the stuff to be confident or you kind of don't. So I think it's very attractive to be confident, but I don't think I'm not necessarily unattracted to people who aren't a 100% confident because it's kind of fleeting, honestly. What do you think?
I just think like a hot body is great, but
Yeah, oh
a
yeah.
guy a guy that who knows how to ask or listen, touch, and laugh, I mean, that's the real energy that I'm looking for
Yeah.
that these days. And Diego and I have come across those types in late night in the Eagle and
Escapades.
escapades, and those are the ones that we end up having a little bit of fun with because it's like we already know who we are at this point and we want somebody that has that sort of confidence too if we're going to go there at a threesome moment. And so I do think it makes a difference on where you're at with it, and I do think confidence is the hottest kink in those instances. Like, we
Yeah.
don't have time for that if they don't have that. So, I mean, um,
You're like, "No. Get out of here. Beat it, queen."
what do you think about, do we flirt better now than we did when we were younger? I would say
Oh,
yes,
yes. That's where
100%.
confidence is key. That's
So, are
where the
you more
confidence comes
direct
in.
now, Cody? And what's your go-to move when you're actually interested? See, I got all the questions here.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I have an answer too. Yeah, I am definitely more flirty now, and I'm much better at it because before I didn't even know what I was doing. I think that this is where the confidence really comes into play. It's where you realize that you can actually hold a conversation with somebody and be interesting and that unspoken thing in flirting where you are like giving and receiving energy, that is a super sexy thing. And I think it's like a banter and a play on words, or it's really just an energy. It's like a sexual vibe that you exude, and I think I've kind of perfected on how to exude that if I'm attracted to somebody and they're attracted to me. It's a give and take, an exchange of energy, if you will. So yeah, I'm much better at
Yeah.
flirting now.
I think there's something that comes over many of us, or at least for me, there was a point. I mean, the whole reason I met Diego was I went up to him and pushed and was a little bit like direct and made sure that we went on a date. And my barber said this today too, because we now have the same barber. And
Mhm.
he said, "Oh my God, Diego was so nice, so nice." And I'm like, he is.
Yeah,
And
what
so he
about
said,
me?
and he's like, "You're probably the one that's a little bit more, like, controlling in the relationship." I'm like, "No, I'm
Ooh.
not. We're both, like, controlling," but but he says, "No, it's a good thing, right? Yin and yang." And I said, "Yes, and we both make decisions in the relationship, and it's both good." But we aren't both the same, and I think one of us had to put that foot forward to actually meet the other one, and I think that's true. Somebody has to, we say this all the time on this show, on dating, you have to put yourself out there. You have to say hi to people. You have to communicate. That is how you're going to meet people. And people
Exactly.
need to hear your voice. They need to hear what you sound like. And I think
Yeah,
those
for
are
sure.
really important things. Doug, watching us live, says, "For me, it's asking for what I want and being able to say no to things I don't want to do without feeling bad about it." When he's talking about age, and I really like that too. Yeah, being confident. And I think for so many of us, for so many years, we would have never said what we really are looking for, what we really want in the bedroom. And there's a certain point where hopefully many of us get confident to ask what we really want, right? I mean, what do you
Oh,
say to
yeah.
that, Cody? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely all about knowing what you want out of life, and really, you're never gonna get it if you don't ask for it. So I think that that is a huge component to actually getting what you want. And it's always a give and take or a debate or a negotiation as far as what they're comfortable with and what you're comfortable with. But at the end of the day, as long as you get some of the things that you need out of the relationship, I think it's a win. So I'm here for it. Ask for what you want.
This is a fun question, and it's all about the DMs lately. And I love people when they can slide into your DMs. And I just want to know, what would be the sexiest DM someone could send you? And when does it become too thirsty? That's kind of a little crazy, right? Because I think if it becomes too thirsty, you would ignore it. Am I right, Cody? If
Like,
someone's too
I
thirsty,
don't want a dick picture in for the first message. That's
yeah,
not
if
what I
it's too
want. I want
thirsty,
a
but
compliment.
would you just ignore it, is my point.
I would ignore it.
Yeah. You
I like
wouldn't?
looking at dicks too much for me to ignore a dick
Well, you
pic.
can look at it and
I
ignore
might not
it.
necessarily answer it. Yeah, I would look at it definitely, but I would definitely a compliment is goes a long way with me. It goes
Would
to
that be one of the sexiest DMs someone could send you, a compliment?
yeah, yes. Yeah, you were so beautiful. You are hilarious. You're such a good sex.
You are
Not that
not that
song. Don't send
song,
me
I
that
know.
song. No, a nice conversation is a sexy.
Yeah.
Massage my mind. Don't
I mean, I
necessarily try
love
and.
Roberta Flack, but
I
we don't need
Does she
to,
do that
yeah.
song? I thought
You
that
are so
was.
beautiful.
Yeah. I think. Let me.
I She did a
Let me
version of it
see.
once, I remember.
Okay.
Okay.
Gonna hurt
Yes,
myself
that's
trying to
not
think about
good.
who sings
Yeah,
that
um,
song.
and when does forward become thirsty? Basically sending a dick pic, right? Are we
Yeah,
good on
I
that
think that's
one?
not for the first message. I maybe like the second or the third, definitely. But for the first message, if you're sliding my DMs, I don't wanna. I don't. That's not should not be the first message that you send, unless it's like
Bryce is
really
saying
impressive.
something live. Can you read
Was-
it before I get to our
yes.
next game?
Bryce says, "What strikes me is how confident and other fundamentally human qualities have become kinks. A kink, by definition, is a sexual interest, preference, or activity that falls outside what is considered conventional or typical. It makes me wonder what that says about where we are culturally as a whole." Oh, okay. We
Hmm.
love the sociological.
I do. Okay.
Yes. What do you think, Steve? What do you think about that?
I mean, what strikes me is he says how confidence and other fundamentally human qualities can become kinks. A kink, by definition, is sexual interest, preference, or activity that falls outside of what is. Yeah, I mean, I think as gay men, we've always fallen outside of the rules and the parameters of it all. And I do think you take a risk when you share with somebody your particular kink so early on, but I mentioned that story, Cody, of somebody that years ago I met at the naked beach, and he had a huge tool, and I thought, oh, this is going to be great. And he was like non talkative on the dates. And then later, when things weren't going very well, communication wise, he messaged me months later when we weren't even dating that, oh, he saw me as a leather daddy because I had posted something like the Folsomies,
Mhm.
and he wanted me to kinda be the daddy type, and I'm like, "Well, you should have said that months ago when we were dating, so it's too late now." So, I think you should actually say your kinks early on if that's something that you're into. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
what Bryce was saying, but yeah.
Yeah, it's close. He just wonders why things that are normalized now, or that are normal human quality, like confidence, we turn that into something that could be considered a kink, which is outside of
Yeah, but
normal.
kinks, we don't, you and I were just at the Folsom Street Fair
Yep.
East here in New York, where on display were so many kinks and they were normalized. And it
Mhm.
was a fair that really made that community feel normalized. If anybody was walking around, you would have just thought this is normal and these are normal, and we shouldn't put those as a marginalized community in so many ways. I don't think so.
Yeah.
and they're real things that so many of us have. Even if you don't partake in that community, everybody has some sort of kink, I would argue.
Yeah,
And
well,
yeah.
and underwear is a kink. Everybody wears underwear. So I think that the most mundane things taken in excess could be considered a kink as well. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go a fun mini game, sex or scary, Cody. I'll read a
Okay.
few
I'm
scenarios.
already
You
scared.
you decide. Okay, you just tell me what comes to your mind. A
Okay.
guy sends, "You're handsome. I'd love to take you out."
That's perfect for
Scary
me.
or sexy?
I literally just that's just what I described as my as the sexiest DM ever.
I
So,
love it.
yes, I
Yeah,
love
me
it.
too. Come on.
Right?
Again, we're talking about sexy or scary. A guy sends a fire emoji only. Um, Sexy to me.
That's still sexy. Yeah, not scared of that.
A
Unless he's trying to
guy's
set fire to my house or something like that, then
okay,
that would
yeah,
be scary.
right? Yes. A guy says exactly what he wants sexually in the first message. Scary.
That's a little scary.
It's
See, the
direct.
DMs are coming on a regular social platform, right? Social media platform, like Facebook or Instagram, something like that. It's not if this was Sniffies, I could see it, but if it's on one of those social platforms, then no, definitely not
Okay.
that.
Okay. We're qualifying. I like that. All
Yeah,
right.
we have to. We have to. That's the name of the game.
Where are you coming from? My back door, my side door, the front door, or from the rooftop? I gotta know. A guy compliments you.
I thought that
A
was a
guy,
question. I was
no, I
like,
just made that. Well, you just you're like, it depends on what platform he's
it's
coming from.
true. It's
It's
true.
the
Are
same
you coming
statement, Cody,
from
but
the
I
roof?
get it. The basement. A guy compliments your body before your face.
So I read this one when we were before our meeting,
Hmm.
and this happens to me a lot. Basically, I get a lot of
Does
compliments
it?
on my body. Yeah, and they forget about my face, which is beautiful. But so if they compliment only my body, then that is a check in the I just am going to fuck you and not really pursue a relationship with you. But if you compliment other parts of me as well, which do get complimented quite frequently, then yes, you can get a date. You can get a more
Yeah,
cordial and
I don't think this would bother me because
welcoming.
it's such a body centric. If you worked really hard on your body and somebody says something, I think somebody came on my ex recently and was like, "Oh my god, your ass is so beautiful," because I reignited. This is a good
Mhm.
opportunity to talk about my
Love it.
my newly relaunched OnlyFans Just for Fans that's coming out in the fall, but I'm actually reposting or actually posting new stuff. But there's going to be a whole new program coming out in the fall for me. And it's Sexy Poppy Steve V on Just for Fans and
Cool.
OnlyFans. And yeah, it's reimagined for people of a certain age. And I love it where I'm going with it. Just felt like I needed a vision, and I
Mhm.
have the vision now, and it's people of a certain age, and it's kind of speaking to that. But to that, I say, yeah, I mean, you have to have something to say, and I get it. Okay, moving on. A guy says, "I saw you across the room and had to say hi." I love that. That's
I love
sexy.
it too. It is. It's sexy. It's confident. You have to have a whole bunch of confidence to go up to somebody, especially in like a bar and be like,
Buying
"Yeah,
somebody a drink, which somebody did for you a couple times last week, and people have done to me in the
a
past,
couple
and
times."
yeah, I think that's great. Do it.
Yeah,
Do it, do it, do it, do it.
it's
A guy
good.
sends a voice note. I'm a person that loves to hear the voice. It's why the apps never worked for me, but if back in the day when I was doing the apps, somebody sent me a voice note and I could hear your voice because 'cause I'm all about the auditory vocal sound, I would love that. And to
Yeah.
hear how you hit those notes, oh, yeah, love it.
Yeah, I would love it too. I think that especially if the voice is really, really sexy and you just better put your best sex voice on. I think I sound like Batman when I'm having sex. You know, Christian Bale.
Oh my
Oh, man.
goodness. Well, and lastly, a guy asked, "Can I kiss you before making a move?" Mm, might go into the scary. What do you say to
You
that?
have to be the smoothest motherfucker on the planet to make
The
that one come off correctly.
smoothest.
You have to be, because that can come off creepy in point 0.3 seconds. So you have to be very, very smooth. But
Yeah.
there is there's a will, there's a way, and he might actually get that kiss. So that's funny. Bryce has a
Okay.
question for us though.
Please.
Bryce says, "Is it possible to build authentic confidence while still remaining on the apps?" What do you think about that, Steve?
Is it possible to build authentic confidence while being uh, y- yeah, I think those two are mutually exclusive. You can build your own confidence on your own
Hmm.
and still visit a modern day way of meeting people and participate on being on something that everybody else is also on the apps, and be direct and be use the language directly. If I was on the apps these days, I would be a lot more specific and say exactly what I want and what I don't want. And yeah, I think so. What do you say?
I agree. I agree with you. I think that the apps are uh, they are real world intensified, and there's so many things that in the real world you can that will debilitate your confidence. So uh, just because it's amplified doesn't mean that you cannot build confidence. You should be doing all the things that you're doing while you're not on the apps in order to build your confidence as well. So uh, and yeah, and any confidence that you build is going to be authentic, even if you're still faking it until you make it.
And lastly, as a final statement, I just want to say sexual confidence, from culminating from our last episode on shame, is really realizing you don't have to be everyone's fantasy. You just have to stop being ashamed of your own self. And I
But
think
what if
that's
I am?
really, then you got to work on that. And you got to work on that.
What if I am everyone's fantasy, Steve? That's a joke.
You could be, and that's
You're
great.
like, I
But
know it's a joke.
most of us are not,
Yeah, I
and
know.
and I'm speaking to me and my audience,
Oh no, me
and but
too.
good
And
for you.
that was like a really hard lesson
Uh,
for me to learn, I
yeah,
think. So I think that's why I probably made that joke, because it took me a while to actually realize that it's okay to not be everybody's fantasy. So
yeah.
yeah, if you're in the middle of that journey, then keep going because it's worth it on the other end.
And I love having this conversation. I love having it on Pride Week here in New York City, San Francisco, Toronto, and I feel there's a few other places. It is, we need to be prideful, and however you celebrate Pride, it is your way of, it could be just a moment for yourself. But everybody had a moment when they decided to be gay, which many of us are on this program and listeners, and it means something. And take that moment for yourself. If you're not into a pride parade, that's fine. If you're not into all the parties and those expensive things out there, don't go. But spend a little moment with yourself would be my recommendation, and just what are you prideful for? And it could be as little as the culmination of a chosen family that accepted you, that made you feel welcome. And I invite you to do that in these days of Pride Week that we are celebrating here at the end of Pride Month, for all of us. And we celebrate you. Cheers, Kodi, to,
Cheers, darling.
yeah, happy Pride.
Happy
Happy
Pride.
Pride. Absolutely. But it is time, before we move on, it's time for Hot Topics. And I did want to share with everybody something that I've been working on. And I love Substack. And if you don't know about Substack, it's kind of a place where people write articles, and there's every kinds of political and personal. Mine is called The Naked Truth, Steve. And it's a personal space for my stories, my reflections on desire, connection, sexuality, connection, and becoming more of yourself with age. And I've just started it, and I do a free post every week. So you can all just subscribe. I should actually put it in there right now. for you guys listening live. And then I do a more explicit post on where I'm actually at and give you a little bit more intel into what puts on these shows and my background. And I'm really enjoying writing these, and it's been a lot of fun. And I invite you to subscribe to it. You can go to substack.com/ at the naked truth Steve. Or if you're on Substack, just look up the naked truth with Steve V. And there's just a lot of fun stories I'm sharing that are what we don't really have enough time to do on this show, where I go a lot deeper. The free posts are there and you can just really relish in them. Hopefully, you relate to them. You can comment on them, but then you can do the paid posts where I give you a lot more insight into the juicy details. I mean, if somebody had a camera on me all these years, it would tell a story, a documentary.
Can't
So
wait for
I'm
the biopic,
sharing,
honey.
yeah, I'm sharing a lot of these. It's a lot of fun, and it's the Naked Truth, Steve V. Well, let's get into hot topics, and there is no shortage of them on this Pride Week. And I did want to start with Mateo Lane. You know, we all love Mateo Lane.
Yeah.
Comedian Diego, my husband, loves Mateo Lane. Did you realize he was married and he just split from his husband? Not just, but recently, Rodrigo Alberto. And he's also revealing that he dated a very hot model in the interim after they broke up. They got married in 2023, him and his husband, Rodrigo, and just broke up. And he said it was really hard for him, Kodi, on a recent podcast to actually come out and say that he's no longer with his husband, that they're still friends, but that it didn't work out, and that his relationship afterwards with a really hot Italian model also didn't work out. And now he's in Chicago on Broadway for a limited time throughout July. What do you think about his honesty? Because I think that I think the clincher question is when you're a very high profile person in our community, like Mateo Lane, and you put yourself out there often like we do too, but on a he's really out there that
Hmm.
people are going to question what happened to the relationship. And when you put your marriage and when you got married out there, and then people are questioning where's the husband and you break up. He
None of
said
your
it was one of the
business.
hardest things though for him to actually deal with and talk about because he put it so out there, and then now he's finally coming to terms with it and saying, "Yeah, we've broken up, but we're still friends." What do you say to that?
I don't think it's anybody's business about what happened, about where's the husband, any of that. And I know from
Well,
personal
I do want to
experience.
stop you on that because I do think
Go
it
ahead.
is anyone's business when you
No.
put it out there already. So people are going to ask you, so it might not be their business, but you already put it out there in the first place.
They can ask. They can ask. They're curious, so of course they're going to ask. But I don't think it's their business. You don't have to tell anybody what happened in your relationship, or if you're going through a divorce. It might behoove you to stop the questions for you to answer the question, but at the end of the day, it's not anybody's business what goes on in your relationship, but you and the other person. um, yeah, and it's devastating to go through a breakup. So I know it's probably was hard for him because I don't know, maybe in his mind he thought that that meant he was he wasn't successful and he doesn't like to admit to quote unquote what he thinks of as a failure. But I don't know. I wish him the best. I hope he finds love. He can call me if he wants to because he's super cute. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think about all this?
I think had his moment in time where they didn't put them. He says in the article that he needed a beat, and I hear that. But in that beat, he also then started dating this Italian model, and he was
Girl.
starting to put that out there also in his social media, and people were getting confused on what was is he with this Italian model? What happened to the husband? But I mean, I don't follow anybody that you know, I'm not
I
one of the
had no
people that
idea.
like he's appeasing to. I don't follow people, anybody that like strategically to be on the sleuth to like clock somebody. But
Maybe
I
that's why we
think if
think
you're
it's
that, but I think if you're that big, you deserve a little grace. You deserve a little time. I think he's talking about it now, and it sounds like he's friends with both his ex-husband and his ex-boyfriend. And Mateo Lane, he seems like a really good guy, and he's talking. So a lot of what he's going to be talking about in his new show are stories from being married. And he went ahead in this article and asked his former husband, "Can I tell some of these stories?" And he got the okay from him because he wanted to make sure that that was okay. And I think that's fair. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
yeah.
Let's move on because I know, I know there's so much to talk about.
So
We only have
much. 15
there's
minutes.
what do you have like one to talk about that you wanted to talk about?
Mm,
I feel like Superman, right? Frankie
yeah, that's a
Grande,
good
that's
one. I do
you,
not wanna talk
right?
about
Let's
yeah,
let's talk about this because Frankie Grande, who is currently in Titanic, which I want to see. I saw a stage reading, if you will, because it was kind of a musical stage reading of back in the day. Our friend Sebastian Lacaze, our co-host, was in that with Frankie Grande at the time, but now it's a full-fledged Broadway production. Frankie Grande, Ariana's brother, has also on Big Brother, has come out with a brand new book about his memoir, talking about his life. And he says how Superman inspired him to be super gay. In the new memoir, he basically traces his evolution from hiding parts of himself like Clark Kent to embracing every side of who he is. I don't think that that's really that crazy, Cody, because he's basically saying how many of us, is like what we've been talking about for the last two episodes about
yeah,
shame and how we found ourselves and how we managed being gay men. When you're a performer of any sort, you're a singer. I've been on stage, I've done different things, and how we've managed that with our family, our friends, our larger audiences. I agree with that. For him, it was Clark Kent. He could be two people. For me, it was like Diana Prince and Wonder Woman in many ways back in the day.
I
I
love
and
Wonder Woman.
also, my name was Steve. So of course, I felt, I don't know, I felt like Clark Kent at times and Superman. And yeah, have you, especially as somebody that has embraced the comics and another world of, have you embraced that and did it ever help you come out or deal with who you were?
Oh, definitely. I am, and I always will be an X-Man, so there's
X-Men.
no question about that. But I think comic books really just by the struggles, the struggles that they go
Yeah.
through in the comic books, those were written by people that see the struggles of everyday people and they relate them to those struggles so that we can see ourselves in those situations. So a lot of them are based on I'm going to use X Men for example, like the trials and tribulations of like Black people, Jewish people,
Yeah.
lesbian, LGBTQ plus people, uh, and it's easy to be able to find parallels about what you're going through and the struggles that you go through, and also be able to see that in there. And it's very inspiring. So I feel like comic books did a lot for me growing up about how I want to operate in this world. And yeah, I can definitely see myself in Superman as far as like, especially when I was much younger, and about how he had to have a secret identity and hide a piece of himself, and what that did to him as far as his struggles in really relating to the people that were around him, and how his relationships got so much better with those people when he actually came out and was his full authentic self. I think that there is a lot to be taken from comic books. I learned some my large vocabulary I can attribute to comic books. So there's so much wealth and value, and I'm glad Frankie Grande is. Did he write? He wrote a book, right, about this. Super gay.
Yeah, it's this new
Yeah.
it's called Super Gay, available now on Source Books and wherever you get your books sold. Frankie Grande's story in Super Gay. So check it out. If you need a summer read, that could be your book. Doug watching us live said, I didn't get to come out when I was ready. My uncle outed me to my parents when I was 18. Oh my
So I'm
God,
sorry,
Doug.
Doug.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a similar story where I was pretty much outed by somebody I went on one date with in college. It was 19, but around the same age, and wrote to the clients that I worked for at a major radio station and basically tried to out me. And to not just my dad, because he wrote letters to my dad, but to the
Mhm.
clients that we had at this major
Wow.
radio station. And it was devastating. My sister had to step in, and it was just a whole thing. And so I hear you. I think a lot of us, this is where I really wanted to do the show 2 days ago about shame and how many of us have had to deal with it. That as gay men, we just weren't allowed to be gay and experience sexuality on our own. Most of us had to go through some filters, had to go through some wall. And Doug, your story speaks to that. My story speaks to that, and being outed way before I ever wanted to be.
Yeah.
And because we just weren't allotted that. And then you go back to years before where many of us were made fun of for certain affectations that we had and certain behaviors that we had and how we were trying to hide. It's no wonder that gay men have often come out later in life or that we've have to deal with being mature at a later period in our lives because many of us didn't have the tools to get there. And I know it's not everyone's story, but it's a lot of our stories. And many
It's
of us are
mine,
still
definitely.
dealing with it. It is. And I want us to give us some grace. I wanted to talk about it this Pride because I just thought, there's so many younger people now that are riding on the wings of many of us that had to go through a lot of this stuff. And I think it's a brilliant time for some people to come out, and it's a time to reflect on some of those things. So, yeah, I'm really happy
Thank
for
you
the
for
time
saying
that
that.
we're in.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did somebody say something else before we get
Oh,
into?
yeah, well, Bryce says that, sorry to Doug, of course, and same for him. He was 16, his brother outed him, and he was kicked out of his house. Mm,
Exactly. I mean, it's
yeah,
one of those
so many stories like that.
stories that we've heard about, and we hear you, Bryce, and thank you for sharing your story in this safe, really, people say safe space. This is a safe space, and we mean it,
Yes.
because we're very vulnerable on this show, and it's why we want more of you to join in on us on Wednesday night, because it's a place where we can share our stories on really a lot of this shit.
Yeah,
But
it's therapy
it
for
is
me. Shoot.
therapy for all of us, yeah, but it's time for to give some advice, and today is no different, and you can always ask us for advice. We'll give our handles at the end of the show, or simply go to tagspodcast.com. This one comes from Reddit when they asked or told us the story, exploring exhibitionism. Hey bros, they wrote, which I found very interesting, Cody. I don't know if you read that. Hey bros.
Right.
I have been interested in exploring ethical, consensual exhibitionism for quite some time now. I've been building muscle and putting effort into my appearance and have wanted to show it off to my people or to people. My husband is supportive and will go along with it, but ultimately, it's not really his thing. We always live in a small town. Or we live. we've always lived in a small town. They wrote also, but always lived in a small town, and sometimes travel for gay events. But I bet most of it would have to be online. I'm curious whether some of you with similar interests have some creative ideas for us for this, either in person or online. So, Cody, they're asking the question, exploring exhibitionism on where do you do that? How do you they've been building, they're putting on some weight like yourself
Uh-huh.
or more, and they want to show off to the people. I would say look up the rules and regulations of the place you want to do that in this climate,
Yeah.
but it is possible, and there are spaces for that, but you gotta be careful, I would say, in so many ways when you're putting yourself out there in that realm. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there are so many spaces out there in the Reddit thread. People mention gay campgrounds where you can go nude.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
there are other new places you can go to, like what's that island house in Key West where it's
Yes,
clothing
honey.
optional. There's plenty
Yeah,
of places that are sex positive that you can go to and really just kind of have that experience of being nude all the time. Because I
yeah.
mean, I love being naked, so that's something that I've also kind of explored and wanted to get to know, and really just put myself out there as far as being naked around other people. And I've always enjoyed it. Going to the nude beach with you,
Yep,
that was a great time.
and we
So
will
I
do it
say
again.
we need to do it this summer. I was thinking about going to the beach
We will.
with you this summer, so we need to go. But yeah, I just put yourself out there. If you want to, you can go to, like they mentioned, the Eagle in the Reddit thread as well. Go to the Eagle and kind of just rub one out. Also, there are websites that you can go do this on. If you want to go to Bait
Dudes
World, is it
nude,
called? Dude's Nude is it? I've been on there. I might go on there tonight if
bait
anybody wants to
world.
take a peek.
Yeah, take a peek.
Yeah, so I might be on there tonight. It doesn't come out until tomorrow, so some of you are gonna miss it, unfortunately. But yeah, I love going on on Dudes Nude and jacking off. So yeah, see you there.
And we want to give one more advice, and this one is kind of on the same spectrum of should I go to a leather nudist party by myself? Comes from Reddit, and the answer is yes. It's a wholehearted, but they wrote 32 here, and I've led a pretty conservative sexual life. Never done anything crazy. Dated a few
Never been
guys.
chased.
Nothing serious. I've always had this urge to cut loose, though. I have the opportunity to go to a leather nudist party tonight. That's definitely going to end up with at least 100 guys naked having open sex. Ooh, I love it. Where is it at? I want to go.
I know, right? Where's my
I've ne-
invite?
I've never really even gone clubbing before. The party's being hosted by a friend of a friend, and that's how I was invited. The thing is, my friend can't go, so I wouldn't know anyone there. Part of me wants to go and is excited by it, but the other part of me is really nervous. What would you guys advise? Go by yourself 100%. I think when you're single, free, exploring, it's when I was single, free, exploring in my 40s, is when I really learned about my proclivities towards the leather community, towards the BDSM communities. It's when I didn't have anybody hovering over me, telling me, don't do this, don't do that. I got to be myself, explore. And I relish and celebrate those times because I didn't have anybody telling me what to do, and I didn't want anybody to tell me what to do. And I got to really explore my sexuality in so many ways without somebody telling me what to do. And I loved it.
Yeah, I
And
agree with
yeah, it was amazing. And Diego's shouting, sorry. He's like, you came later. Don't
you.
worry about
Well,
it.
well, I agree with you. I think that he should listen to the part of him that's telling him to go. Even if he just goes and watches for a little while
Yeah.
and then decides it's not his cup of tea and he leaves, at least he went and he tried something new and he really put himself out there. So, yeah, I agree.
As Nike says, Doug says, "Just do it and have fun." And
I was
on
like,
that note,
"Nike? The
Doug,
Greek goddess?"
we wanna wish
Go ahead.
everybody a happy Pride Month. Obviously, we wrap up Pride Month. I hope you, if you're not in New York or San Francisco or Toronto, where many of these cities are celebrating Pride Week and doing many, but I hope you're celebrating Pride Month in a way that celebrates you and what pride means to you, and really look at that. It is important. I talked to my barber today, and he recognized, as a straight man, it is important for our community. And I hope you find a way, in your own special way, to celebrate it. Just take a moment for yourself. It's very important. It is important on this show that we tell you that as well.
That's right.
You can always follow my co-host Kodi at Mr. Maurice on Instagram and Blue Sky. And you can follow me. I am underscore Steve V. And we wish you a very happy Pride. And in the
Happy Pride, everybody. We
meantime,
love you.
continue having hot
Hot
gay
gay sex.
sex. We love you and happy Pride.